Good morning, Gulf Coast. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on this half hour of News 25 today, we're keeping an eye on Hurricane Michael as it closes in on the Florida Panhandle. Senator John McCain has made his final journey to Washington. His flag-draped casket arrived last night. Today, Congress and the public will pay their final respects. In a do-over vote Tuesday, the Mississippi House reversed itself and passed a bill to create a state lottery. Welcome back, South Mississippi. In health news this morning, people who have had a stroke may face a higher risk of dementia. Now we'll introduce you to one person who doesn't want to see that happen. A Minnesota Vikings fan got her hands on some of the hottest tickets in town with a lovely thank you note from the team itself. Take a quick look right here.
Come on, you can't give Millie just one win.
You know I want nothing more than for her to be happy. She looked so cute right there, but it's so hard not to root for the Saints. 98 degrees isn't just Hank's favorite boy band. It was also a record high temperature set in Pascagoula yesterday, a record that hasn't been broken on that date since 1953.
I'm an NSYNC man.
33, 34, 35. 36.
No, it was a...
But you're not supposed to know, I thought.
Yeah, I'm better than you.
37, 38, 39, 40, 41. It's not in here because you have it. Right, now I got my hat on today, and I don't know if this will stand up to what you're going to see Saturday, but it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
And she made us put ours on.
You know those
You know
lights?
what? I'm sitting next to two men who spend more time on their hair than I do.
Because
so,
it's necessary.
Sorry about it.
We
We're
need
celebrating
it.
Christmas.
Part of the job.
You wake up like this. We don't.
That's right. I'm here at the Bay St. Louis Police Department where Chief Mike DiNardo shot himself in the chest and died. We are in Ward 5, which is my home ward. As you can see by my fancy little I voted sticker here, I cast my vote earlier today. Katerina and Brian, President-elect Donald Trump's campaign bus is parked right here outside of the dock in Gulfport. Well, Tony and Joe, after several hours of deliberation, the jury did find Danielle DeWitt guilty on 2 counts of lustful touching a minor for sexual purposes. And a manhunt ensued after the suspects ran from the house, jumped over this fence, and disappeared into the woods. And some business owners fear that they may have to shut their doors for good after serving this community for years if the city decides to move forward with the transformation. Resident David Easton has his own theory about why these tires might have ended up here. Coming up on News 25 of part 2 of our behind-the-scenes look of Mississippi Power's Kemper County plant, we hear from CEO Anthony Wilson. We ask the questions you want to know. Many of the first responders out here taking advantage of the offer are avid golfers themselves. They say they appreciate the gesture because it helps them have some fun while taking their mind off the chaos surrounding the nation. Not only does the rail provide an extra mode of transportation, but also more economic development opportunities and easier access to all our downtown areas our coast has to offer, from Bay St. Louis to Pascagoula. After years of hard work, charter for hire will finally be recognized as an industry through a new amendment that allows for a longer season to catch red snapper. Now, a lot of the more than 25,000 cars that have been towed here suffered some pretty bad mold damage. Some even found floating in residential areas of Baton Rouge, and State Farm says most all of these cars are total losses. At 832 acres, the Michoud Assembly Facility is one of the largest manufacturing facilities in the world. Now, this building we're standing in here is 43 acres. That's about 31 American football fields. So what can you do if a fire gets out of hand? Firefighters say to have one of these on hand and know how to use it, but more importantly, just call 911.
Why did my baby have to be killed? Why?
Sherry Bowman begs for answers after finding out her son, 23-year-old Christian Bowman, is dead following an officer-involved shooting at this Ramada Hotel in St. Martin.
All I know is that I see my son's blood on this door now, and he's gone to Jackson for 3 days. I didn't even get to see him, kiss him, nothing before they took my baby.
Nearly 1 year after losing another son to cancer, and just 1 day after hearing from Christian on Mother's Day.
When he answered the phone, he said, "Hey, beautiful." And that's the last words that my son said to me.
According to the Jackson County Sheriff's Department, deputies were responding to a call of possible drug activity shortly after 1 a.m. Monday when they were met with Bowman, who they say was aggressively combative toward the officer. But a longtime friend of Bowman, who does not want to be identified, tells News 25 he was in the room at the time and tells a different story. He admits that after a night of partying and no sleep for several days, the two men were asleep in the room and
Christian was incoherent and dazed when the officers arrived.
He said, "Get out the way," and he shot him. And he shot him point blank and he murdered him in cold blood. And he didn't have no weapon, he didn't have nothing.
He says he remembers pleading with the officers to spare Christian's life.
Please, please stop hurting him. Please. He's not resisting and he's not trying to get away. He's not trying to do nothing. The cop took his pistol out and he commenced beating him in the face with it.
We deeply regret that this has happened, but I can assure you that the matter will be thoroughly investigated by the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation.
Right now, as Christian's body is in Jackson pending an autopsy, all Sherry Bowman has left of her son is the few personal belongings she was able to grab from this hotel room. What's worse is how she's going to explain Christian's death to his 5-year-old son.
And we can't tell him who did it. How do you tell your grandson that an officer of the law killed his daddy? Can't do it because he would never trust him.
This airplane, the workhorse of the Air Force, the newest version of the C-130J aircraft, is one of 10 identical Hurricane Hunter planes at Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi. Designed to fly 350 miles per hour at 35,000 feet, this plane took flight and headed straight for the Eye of Hermine.
For the plane, we're actually collecting a lot of information. We'll go through the storm, we'll mark the center point each time we go through, and after a few of those, you kind of get a connect the dots feeling. You can actually get speed and direction at that time point.
It was a bumpy ride out to the edge of the Florida coast Thursday as the tropical storm upgraded to a Category 1 hurricane mid-flight. Here's a look at what the radar looks like. Green indicates the milder parts of the storm, while red indicates the stronger portions. For this mission, the Hurricane Hunters flew 200 miles per hour at just 5,000 feet.
So they send us out just as low as we feel comfortable gathering data, and then we also have means to gather information even below the airplane. So we're getting as real-time information that's as useful as possible to allow the National Hurricane Center to better predict what that storm's going to do.
So how do they measure all of that critical data? Well, they use tools like this one right here. It's called a drop sonde. It's loaded into this chute, launched into the Gulf, and it measures things like wind speed, temperature, and relative humidity.
We collect all that information. All that gets pushed to National Hurricane Center. They take that and then turn it into the forecast and stuff you see on the coast.
Increasing the accuracy of forecast data by 28 to 30%, assisting emergency management services and alerts, increasing evacuation times, and ultimately keeping you safe.